to you a little bit more each week, and we appreciate you participating. We also appreciate the participants that go out there and watch us on YouTube. We're getting each week we're getting closer and closer to the 1,000,000 views. I think we're somewhere around 900,000 right now, so we're very happy about that. Appreciate all of you who go out there and faithfully watch our videos as well. We also want to say thanks to our advertisers who advertise here. We have our major advertiser, Crescendo, who is a $50 million company that is ranked in the top 20 in the United States for search engine optimization, web marketing, so they're great to work with. No longer can you use a guy out of his basement to do your search engine optimization. I mean, he can cut and paste some keywords in there for you, which you can do yourself for about save yourself lots of money and just do it yourself. Or you can utilize a company that loves web marketing, and that's they have many employees that work for them, and they specialize in that. So there's a reason why they're ranked across the United States. The next thing that next advertiser that we wanted to talk about is Glendale Flowers. We appreciate everything that they have done for us, and throughout the years as well. They've been wonderful to us. If any of you want to go to poweroftheflowers.com, I share a lot of my experiences about giving flowers. And even though it is a family-friendly blog, it really is a family-friendly blog. You might not want your young men to know the power of the flowers, because it is just, I'm just amazed how powerful it is in business. That same power occurs in a very positive way and allows you to get transactions that you may have never thought of that you had a chance. It's just amazing how flowers open up relationships no matter where you are. So I suggest that you go to Glendale Flowers over on 59th Avenue in Glendale, and also over on the other side of town we have PJ's Flowers, which if you're on that side of town, about 19th Avenue and Northern, you're welcome to use PJ's Flowers. We've used them for years as well, and they're a great place for to get all of your floral needs taken care of. We also thank Planet Beach for being an advertiser for us. There's about 9 locations in the Phoenix area, so all you need to do is go into Google Maps, type in Planet Beach, and mention my name, and you will be able to get a free day at the spa, and they'll talk to you about all the particulars, and you'll be able to have a great experience there, like I have. I tell you what, we're going to be, for those of you who listen to our other show, to my other show called Ageless Living on our other channel, which has the health channel, I encourage you to tune in there. We're going to be talking today, the subject that we're going to be talking about over there is living a more stress-free life, or how to cope with the stress. If you just, you're just living a stressful life, not much you can do about it as far as the stress on the outside, but you can deal with it on the inside and actually have a peaceful life. So make sure you tune in over there. And that's actually one place that I would suggest to go to help deal with it, is Planet Beach. You get unlimited trips to be able to get massages and all kinds of things. I'll tell you what, I feel completely rejuvenated even if I only drop in for 20 minutes. It's unlimited, so you can stay 20 minutes, you can just spend 3 hours, just whatever it is. I suggest that you go to Planet Beach and get yourself a membership there. And we also want to thank a couple of organizations that are not officially sponsors, but they have changed my life, and I would love to suggest that they change yours as well. Go to bizgrowth.trustedteam.com. That's bizgrowth.trustedteam.com. It's absolutely changed our business. It's changed my personal life, and I've absolutely loved it. And also gqs.com. I suggest is a great way to get your life organized, stay within your integrity, and just get things done. That is gqeus.com. So in the meantime, we are joined today by one of my favorite businesses in a favorite industry, which has to do with the cloud. Now, I think one of the either more fortunate or unfortunate choices that the industry chose was to call itself the cloud. When we think about cloud, clouds, we think about kind of nebulous things floating around, and it's not concrete. And so we ask ourselves, what is the cloud? So we're joined by John today at Adopt Technologies, and I have ventured to say your last name, John, but I'll pronounce for our listeners your last name so I don't get it wrong.
Yes, it's Lecoussier, John Lecoussier.
Lecoussier, okay, and it actually kind of looks like that when you see it up
A whole
paper.
bunch of French.
That's right. So we love the French. Do you speak French at all?
Nope. French
Oh.
french fries, French toast. That's about
There
as
you
far
go.
as I
He's
get.
a guy who qualifies. Just like me speaking German. You know, the people ask for that, and I'm like, hey, German last name, Frankfurter. Okay, there we go. But thanks for joining us on the air. What Adopt Technologies deals with is all the way from remote desktops to just about anything in the cloud that you can get done in the cloud. And so, John, but first of all, help us define what the cloud actually is for those of us that are a little bit new to the scene.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
You're welcome.
And promote Adopt Technologies. Adopt Technologies is a fully hosted and managed cloud-based computing firm. Essentially what that means is we work with small to mid-sized businesses, really kind of reduce some of the costs and typical limitations that a lot of companies have with some of the more of the traditional IT. So when I say fully hosted and managed, when I say hosted, that means we actually take a company's entire workstation, desktop, infrastructure, software, and we actually host and manage everything down in our data center at Phoenix Now. So we do work with the company to eliminate the need for servers, for software, for any of that large upfront expenditure. We actually will host that all down in our data center. And then on the back end, we're actually your outsourced IT resource for that as well. So all of your applications, all of your programs, we will support that as well. And one thing that's nice about the cloud is we are able to essentially bring your complete desktop, all of your applications, all of your programs, all of your software to any device that has an internet connection.
See, that's amazing. And you know, it's a simple way to say the cloud, as you say, it's just the internet. It means that you log in on the internet and it's hosted somewhere else on the internet. Is that an okay way to say it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And you're totally right. There is definitely a lot of misinformation out there on, you know, the supposed cloud. All it really is instead of having that back room of blinking lights and servers that most companies have, instead we're actually building that on our enterprise level system at a secure data location.
You bet. Or another way of saying it is, it's online.
Yes.
So, and so now we all understand it's online. Oh, great! But they use the word the cloud and confuse everybody out there. And so we appreciate you helping us clear the air about what the cloud actually is. And you know, a lot of people do understand the cloud. And to be honest, when you really get into it, the cloud has implications of not just saying it's online, but that it does have some implications that are completely amazing. So stay tuned, and we're going to be talking about that as we continue on with the show. I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of just the whole technology industry and what enabled the cloud. Or maybe you could talk a little bit about that, John. Tell us about how innovation in the technology industry occurred and made it more and more prevalent for people to use their software online rather than on their desktop.
Sure. I'm definitely no expert with the evolution of technology, but I can give you my best here. If you just think about it, even back 10 or 15 years, just the bell curve of how technology has really evolved over the years. If you think about it, most people, if you ask in a room if they've had the first iPhone 5 years ago, everyone's going to raise their hand because they think everyone's very cutting edge in technology, when if you think about it, the first iPhone really only came out a few years ago. And you actually think of how that technology spike has really come along, or that that the internet has only been around for a couple decades, and you think of where we are currently today.
It's really amazing.
And you know, just being able to have that traditional IT infrastructure where, you know, you have those servers in the back room, and you know, 5-10 years ago, that was it. That was technology. That was cutting edge. Now what we're finding is that moving everything to a more of a cloud-based remote atmosphere is definitely a lot more beneficial for companies, for cost efficiency, workflow efficiencies, and just security, and being able to protect your data and your information.
I'd like to talk about some of the personal implications for me, and when we come back. I mean, hopefully everybody was taking notes. In fact, if you don't have a pen and a paper during this show, you probably should take some notes, because I really feel that moving into the cloud is something that, I mean, our show is all about social media, web marketing, and those are all cloud-based. Google is cloud-based, Facebook is cloud-based, LinkedIn, Twitter, everything that you need to log into, and you don't necessarily have to log into Google, but anything you can access online is in the cloud. And then it's becoming more and more prevalent that your desktop goes into the cloud or goes online as well. And here's a couple of personal experiences, kind of the evolution. If you look really closely, I decided to go with a more rugged look today, and I got a couple of gray hairs on my chin here. And so that shows you that I've been around a little while, longer than a couple of decades that the internet has been. So, I was actually around before the advent of the internet. Anybody who, is young enough to barely remember the internet, just because you're young, not because I'm extremely old. But anyway, now we got that established. I actually do remember when there was no internet. But that their computers were there, and that was a massive innovation was the PC, and also a massive innovation was Excel, the Excel spreadsheets. So I went to college, and I got onto campus. I came from a small town. I'm actually really a cowboy in a small town of about 3,000 people. It's actually 3,000 now. It actually shrunk since I left because of my magnetism was gone. Then they all just dispersed afterwards. Just kidding. But the point is that, a 3,000 to 6,000 population town. My graduating class was 80 to 100, and so when I graduated, I was so ready to go to a campus of 60,000 kids. I just thought that would be amazing to not have to be with the same 400 kids and to be able to go out there and explore that. And so rather than it being a concrete jungle when I went to Arizona State University, it was a great experience for me to go and to meet everybody. Well, we didn't have Facebook back then, and I know it makes me feel old, but Facebook's only been around for about 6 years, so, give me a break on this one. But the point is that I created my own Facebook. I had a spreadsheet. Every time I met somebody, I would actually write it down by hand. I would go in that night, and I would put into the spreadsheet who I met, and I had to write a little abbreviated description, whether they were tall or short, or they were fat or thin, whether they were, whatever it was, so I could remember who they were. And that group of information, that set of information in those spreadsheets, I reviewed it all the time, printed it out, put it in my Franklin planner, and that information eventually got me to become student body vice president and then president of the university. And I absolutely loved that experience. And we had them on 3 1/4 floppy disks. So yes, it's showing it's definitely dating me here. But the point is I kept a rubber band around those, and I waited and waited for the day that I could actually put them on a PC. And one day I pulled them out, and I had them in a trunk or something that had some sand in it from something else that kind of wore away. And they got some sand in there, and they didn't work. I lost all my information. So those 15,000 students, I'm madly on Facebook trying to reconnect with all the 15,000 students that I actually knew out of the 60,000 that were there. So the point is that that's a personal experience, but also another personal experience is I've got 7 or 8 computers that all have information. They're all sitting in a closet waiting, I have to find my son who loves to tear apart computers and tell him, no, you can't tear apart those computers, not until I actually move everything off of them. And so the point is, if I had just during all that time, if I had this great innovative technology that John has at Adopt Technologies today, where I could have just logged in, put all that information in, would I ever have had that experience where I lost all that information? Absolutely not. And I would have also, the second that Facebook came out, I could have been just typing them in. Okay, there you are, there you are, there you are, there you are, and I would have had all 15,000 of those great friends from college. Can you imagine a database of trust like that, the brain trust of where all those are? They've got a couple of gray hairs now and at the head of companies and doing major things in the industry. So the point is, those were great contacts that we're missing, and throughout the years, there's been many things that I've lost. What going into the cloud does, especially with your remote desktops, is it allows you to keep everything in one place, including with employee turnover. You know, I happen to do it with, use this example with computer turnover, but you have employee turnover, very similar thing. You change the password, they're locked out, they're done. You're done with that, and you don't have to worry about it. When we come back from break, because it is time for break, we're going to talk about cybersecurity, how this applies with security, and you're going to be surprised that you're actually, John, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to talk about how you're more secure in the cloud than you are on your desktop.
Yes, that's exactly what we're going to get into, because over the past how many ever years, people do feel comfortable seeing those blinking lights and behind that locked door knowing that their data is safe. But when we get back, I'll kind of tell you how the cloud actually approaches security.
Absolutely. There'll be some surprising information that we'll share with you, so don't go away. We'll be right back after the break. This is Kurt Wilhelm, the host of The Social Universe here on Voice America, joined by John from Adopt Technologies, and we'll be right back.